listener production.
Welcome to the Motorsport Brief. Today we're turning the keys over to you, the fans, for a chat with one of the most diversely successful racers in the modern era from this part of the world, now wowing them in NASCAR. G'day everybody, Rusty here. Thank you for joining us on this special edition of the Shortcast. A big thanks to Trackhouse Racing too. Shane van Gisbergen is standing by in North Carolina, ready to answer your questions. There is a feature episode we released recently that's worth a listen when you are finished here too, but it's on the two-wheel side. The idea came about when the latest members were inducted into the Australian Motorsport Hall of Fame in March. We really should have had Craig Dack on the pod ages ago, and he's a worthy inclusion in the Hall of Fame too. From his success in Mr. Motocross to proudly representing Australia on numerous occasions, starting his own team, chalking up a 30-year milestone with it in 2023, and the incredible success that he's had as an owner too. Some of the star riders that he's guided along the way, including a young Chad Reed when he first set out to conquer the US, and some little-known stories, including a promo with an aerobics television show that had promoters worried about him, and a sliding doors moment that almost saw him switch to touring cars to race alongside an icon of the sport. Thanks to all of you who follow and listen. We have had a huge response on social media to this one. I'm not going to get to everyone's questions here. I just can't in the time that we've got. We've tried to focus on some common themes and to keep it mainly about the NASCAR chapter rather than looking in the rearview mirror too much, as they say. There is a little around Supercars comparisons and a fun memory that some of you asked about too. Let's get to the conversation. It was great to catch up with Shane. 6 months into this significant life and career switch, and just weeks out from the defence of his win in Chicago last year that really put the wheels for this in motion. Shane, welcome. We have had an overwhelming reaction to this. And one of the key messages that permeates all of the comments is how much you look like you are enjoying this new chapter. Clearly it's busy, but has it kind of even exceeded your own expectations?
Yeah, well, firstly, good to see you again. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing challenge and a good sort of refresh, I guess too. It's there's no secret I wasn't enjoying last year, but yeah, we made this huge, I guess, jump or risk to come over to America and try something different. And yeah, first I didn't know if I'd enjoy racing every week the same thing, and I didn't know if I'd enjoy the ovals and living here, but it's been the best thing I've ever done. And Marcus Ambrose, who I speak to a lot, he said, when you get over here, you'll wish you did it 10 years ago, so yeah, I've been loving it. I had a pretty amazing time in Australia, for a long time. And I think, it was the perfect opportunity to go try something. And it's been very difficult. The ovals are so tough. And I got a lot to learn there, but yeah, I just love racing every week and love the style of racing, love the way the American people go about it, and just it's a very different attitude over here, it feels like. So yeah, it's good.
You've sparked all sorts of comments there, and lots of people want to tap into some of these things. Firstly, on the Marcus Ambrose front, when did you kind of first start talking to him? He's offered lots of great, I guess, advice along the way. What's the best takeaway that he gave you?
Just try and fit in, just be like one of them, just be happy and just, try and immerse yourself in the team, which is pretty easy to do. Americans are very welcoming people, very happy. But yeah, I started talking to him as soon as the Chicago deal started happening, really. I just wanted to know all about the sport, how to approach the one weekend and how to do things. And yeah, he's just so open about everything, so forthcoming with advice. And so, this year we speak a lot, not every week at the moment, but tried to speak every Thursday, especially before those first races. And my other coach, I guess, or advisor is Kevin Harvick. So with those two guys, when I speak to Kevin, he just, so advanced with ovals talk, that some stuff goes over my head, like I wouldn't even know what's happening. Whereas Marcus explains it to someone who's been through what I'm going through before, and he knows what I'm going to feel, what new experiences I'm going to have, and I kind of get explained to it, the basics and then the advanced version. And it's really cool, those two guys. You know, they say the same thing, but they say it completely differently. And when I get out there, you know, and I feel it, it's like, oh, yeah, that's how Marcus explained it, or that's how Kevin did it. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Here's one from Ryan McGregor.
Hi, Shane. Ryan here. Hey, most of us in the Southern Hemisphere don't understand what it's like to turn only left. We only understand right and left on racetracks. What's the challenges of mostly going left? Is it finding tyre grip, car balance, side drafting? Can you explain to us people down here what it's like?
Yeah, it's a big question. Like, where do you start? So I knew it was going to be difficult, but yeah, I don't know. 2 corners, 4, as they call it here. It's so hard to get right. There's so many little intricate details about NASCAR, and especially these Xfinity cars. They're very, very different. I felt more comfortable on the oval in the Cup car. It's more normal. So these Xfinity cars, they set up the rear end in particular to move, and they use the side force of the car for downforce. They use the side of the car like a sail almost. So the first time I drove at Las Vegas, when the car loads in the banking, the rear end twists. So it's like a forklift, and the whole car comes out sideways, and, you know, they put their arse out in the air to hold you. So I drove into the corner the first time, and I thought, shit, what's happened here? It felt like I was spinning out, you know. I was facing the infield, it felt like. So I corrected the car, and it just shot me straight to the fence because the car wasn't sliding. All 4 tires were gripped up, but because it was all twisted out, it, you know, Ross Chastain says you just got to go in, turn left, hold it, ignore everything, and the hand of God will save you. Like it. So imagine going into a corner at 300 kilometers an hour, and the car cranks fully sideways, and you're ignoring 30 years of driving basically, and just telling yourself you're not sideways when you are. So having that trust, and then when you get a car beside you, you don't have side force. They take all the side force away. It's crazy. It's stuff I've never ever felt before. And you know, just the speeds you're doing things at, you know, I can go pretty good on the simulator, but when you're doing those speeds into banking and just trusting that the hand of God is going to save you, it's hard. But, you know, I've only done 1 cup race on a proper oval, and I felt, you know, comfortable in those cars. Those cars are like any other race car I've driven with the rear end. It's just the Xfinity car it's really bizarre. And when you speak to the NASCAR drivers, they're the opposite. They want the old style back with the rear end because that's all they're used to. You know, they struggle with the Cup car. So it was interesting to hear that. Yeah.
Nice. One from Struan Millwood here who says, how are all the other drivers towards you on and off the track?
Yeah, so most have been very good. I've only had a problem with one guy, and we, you know, he took me out at Coda, and then I got him back at Sonoma, but everyone else is awesome. You know, we've had some hard battles. I've spun a guy, he's got me back, and, you know, we spoke about it after, and, you know, we're sweet. You just shake hands, get on with it. Everyone's, you know, it's pretty hard to be wanting to crash into someone because you got to see them the next week, you know, and you always tend to be racing the same guys every week, especially on the ovals. You kind of find where your level's at and you're racing those guys every week. But yeah, most guys are pretty nice. My teammates are awesome, especially, and Corlig and Trackhouse, and, you know, we, Ross, Daniel and I, we sort of get along well, talk about the cars a lot, and you know, Ross and I go running most weeks together. So yeah, it's pretty cool here, how it all works.
Excellent. Camille McLean, how different the media is in the United States and the positive reaction that you kind of have had to that. And I guess the extension for me there, Shane, is, you know, with Portland, Sonoma and so on, has the interest kind of grown in the wake of all that too?
Yeah, so it's hard. I've always, as you know, struggled with the media side of things, but you know, I feel Australian media, they're always looking for you to slip up, always looking for the headline. And I'm not sure if that's because I was one of the bigger names there or whatever, but I felt like if I did an article and there was 20 questions and I had all the answers, they'd pick out one little bit of writing and that would be the headline, you know? So I always would answer in Australia guarded. Like I was always thinking too much about what I was going to say and not wanting to say the right thing or the wrong thing. And whereas here, I feel like you can be yourself and then, you're appreciated for it, and they write what you say. They do sometimes try and put the words in your mouth, but the questions are more not genuine, but less trying to get that clickbait out of you. And the stories generally seem to be positive here. And it just kind of snowballs, where in Australia it felt like it snowballed the other way from a lot of people. Yeah. And, they're always driving the negative to get the clicks, and the short term just drags everything down, where it seems to be the opposite here. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I can be myself here and not get away with it, but, people appreciate it.
Enjoy that.
Yeah, which is cool.
A lot of people asking about burnouts and drifting. Supercars or NASCAR, what is harder?
No, they're both pretty good. Drifting here was pretty fun after the races and doing a burnout. So I don't think they'd ever seen drifting here at a NASCAR race. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, just, these races are hard to win. So getting to celebrate was a pretty cool feeling.
Another piece of audio here. This is from Matt Shaw.
Hey Shane, Matt here. We'll send you race Speedway in NZ. Would you do a chili bowl or similar over there?
Justin actually messaged me last week, so maybe. I think I'm going to go get fitted up in a midget here and see if I fit and can get comfortable, because he wanted me to do the chili bowl this year. But my other boss, Ty Norris, who's like the president of Trackhouse, he said he sees the flip count every year at chili bowl and hates it. So I have to argue with both. But yeah, I plan to race Speedway in New Zealand. I want to come back end of the year and hopefully race some sprint cars again. But then pretty early in January is the chili bowl. So yeah, maybe there's a possibility I'd do it. I'd love to do it, but it's not easy. Yeah. I just enjoyed the sprint car stuff and the quick fire races, quick night, pack up and leave, go to the next one in a couple of days. So yeah, hopefully we do that again.
We'll sneak a quick break here on Rusty's Garage. More of your questions with Shane van Gisbergen in the US right after this. You're listening to the Motorsport Brief, our garage shortcast with SVG, beaming in from Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, we've got a little bit more time with him before he heads off to a sim session. He told me before we hit record just how impressive that Cup sim especially is. And he's in the simulator a lot, as you guys know, so probably not easily impressed there. It must be unbelievable. In addition to his busy race schedule this year, he is just immersed in all of this, isn't he? And loving it. Let's get back to the chat now. Lots of people asking about 2025. Not sure what you can share with us. What can you tell us for next year?
Yeah, well, not sure. That was the plan, was this year to be a learning year in Xfinity and then move to Cup next year. And I know the team's trying to get a charter for a third car, and that's sounding pretty good. But, we have a lot of drivers at Trackhouse, so yeah, I just fingers crossed, head down, just, keep learning, keep getting better, and hopefully good things come. But, nothing official yet, but I moved here to be in the Cup Series, so hopefully we have some good news soon.
Fans asking about spotting for Will Brown. Were there learnings in that? Was there a bit of a blend of NASCAR come Supercars approach? How'd you tackle it?
Yeah, he dobbed me in there about being hungover, so that made my job harder. We had a good day Saturday, obviously, so celebrated with some friends. That was fun and cool to go through it with Will. Like, I knew what he'd been through, knew what he was trying to learn, and especially the other spotter, Brett. He was like a proper Southern NASCAR guy, so pretty hard to understand. So I had to translate a little bit, but Will's such a fun guy, so we had a ball. And unfortunately, he had some car problems, so didn't get to show his full potential. But yeah, I struggled sort of telling him what to do, because on the road course, I don't like inside and outside. I like left and right car position on a road course.
Okay.
So where I was spotting was just one corner was a hairpin, and then it would be a kink left on the front straight. So the hairpin's easy. I kept saying outside, outside. And then, of course, that outside became inside when the cars went to the left. So I'd stuff up by saying outside instead of left. I'd be outside, outside. Oh, no, now he's on the inside. Sorry. I kept stuffing that up. But Yeah, he said he got confused at one point, so he just drove down the middle.
Awesome insights. Hey, I want to be largely in this chat been eyes forward because I think a lot of people want to ask about NASCAR, right? But are you still kind of, when you got time, because I know you're busy, in touch with a couple of the younger guys in Supercars that you've helped or maybe mentored along the way? Maybe a Ryan Wood or some of the Norwell team, or just time hasn't really lent itself for that?
Yeah, so I still watch Supercars. It's hard to turn it off after doing it for 15, 16 years. You know, I still want to watch and take an interest, and I still got a lot of friends in it. So yeah, I watch it and I actually watch it without sound. I watch it watching the Apex Hunters podcast, you know, because I kind of feel like I'm watching it with friends, and the commentary shits me. So I just watch it with those guys. But it's interesting. I find it fascinating. You know, there's a lot of good Kiwi guys, and you know, kind of trying to study them and understand where they're struggling, and then I try and help them a little bit. But yeah, I'm really cheering for Richie in particular. I want him to succeed, and I was involved with his sort of process of coming back last year, and yeah, so I'll try and work with him a bit closer to, you know, help him come into the front. But yeah, it's been great to see him back racing, and still looks like he's enjoying it. So yeah, I really sort of have maybe a soft spot is the right way to put it for him. So yeah, it's cool to watch him go well.
Another piece of audio here from Lee Rasmussen.
G'day Shane, Lee here. Just wondering if you'd ever race Indy cars like your mate Scott McLaughlin and go to the Indy 500 and hopefully win that one day.
Yeah, I want to get better here first than NASCAR, but yeah, that would be awesome to do the double, or even just a road course or an oval in IndyCar. But that is no easy task. You know, talking with Scott more and Kyle a little bit, seeing how fast stuff's happening and how tough that is, you know, that's a few years away. But yeah, maybe one day if I get better at NASCAR, doing the double would be an amazing thing to do.
Brock Bowley, he goes by the handle Brock Star. Sequential box, either Cup or Supercars, or H-pattern gearbox Xfinity. What's your favourite?
Oh, sequential, yeah, but the H-pattern's been a challenge. So H-pattern I was okay left-handed, and I'm always okay driving a left-hand drive. But when I first started driving right-handed H-pattern, I really struggled. You know, it's just all the wrong muscles. Like on the outside of my arm was always sore, pushing second or third. Like I was using muscles I've never used before. It was tough, but yeah, I struggled a little bit as well on the double weekend when I did Coda in Xfinity and Cup. You know, I just having to go back between H-pattern and sequential. It was pretty tough. But yeah, I prefer the sequential. The sequential without the flat shift in the Cup cars are really cool.
Excellent. A lot of love for Roland, mate, or Ronald, I should say. First, I want to come to Roland in a second. How is he? Has he settled in? And Luke Krebin is asking, is his name a derivative of Roland? Where did it come from?
Not at all. Jess looked at it a little bit, shaking her head. No, his name is no relation at all. Yeah, Ronald the Ridgeback. But yeah, it's just a coincidence. But he's awesome. He came over with us. We settled here for a month, and he came over, and it was freezing cold. And living in Queensland, he'd never felt cold before. So as soon as he put his foot on frosted grass, he shat himself. Didn't know what to do. But now it's hot and humid every day. He's the opposite. You know, it's too hot for him. But yeah, it's fun. And in America, you take your dog everywhere. So take him to the workshop almost every day, and you know, he comes to some races with us and stuff. It's really cool. Glad we brought him.
How was it with Roland interviewing you at Sonoma?
Useless. He should not. He should pay someone else to do it.
We've got a couple of fun ones to finish here. One from a Jess Dane that may or may not have come from Charlotte, North Carolina. What happens when you fill the dishwashing drawer with washing up liquid? Is that a little bit of... did you have a moment there?
So I'm about 5 meters away from the dishwasher, and this floor right here was covered in bubbles and water. So.
Classic. One here to wrap up from David, some audio.
Shane, it's great to watch your progress in the States. Really enjoying how you're having some success over there. I've got a question for you, though. When you won the Supercars Championship in Adelaide a couple of years ago and did those incredible burnouts, how nervous were you about hitting the championship trophy, and what do you think would have happened if you did?
Well, I didn't think about the consequences because I wouldn't have done it. So that was actually my mechanic at the time, Jared. He was thinking, what could we do different? And then he thought, yes, you take your boot off and stick it in the throttle. So that worked pretty well. But I did learn where the outside kill switch was. In case it started moving, I could dive for the kill switch. But yeah, I'm glad I didn't think about the consequences before I went and did that. Yeah. And I never got told off for that one too, which is good.
Awesome. You're on basically the eve almost of Chicago. I think you'd love to go back-to-back there. Have you set yourself a quiet little goal between now and the end of the year with all of this, or has it just been about the pure enjoyment and learning?
Yeah, so I try never to set goals, but obviously on the road courses, we're expected to win and be up front. So yeah, as long as I prepare well and put in the effort there, we'll naturally run up front. I think every road course we've had a good chance this year, so it's been awesome. So yeah, Chicago should be a continuation of that. But my focus every week is the ovals and understanding that and all the little details it takes to get better. And, you know, it's going to take me a long time. You could see Marcus, even after 5 years, Juan Pablo Montoya. It took them so long. You know, these guys have been, like I've been road racing since I was a kid. These guys have been doing ovals. So it's funny, you know, when you talk about, or when I talk about what I'm doing in the car on a road course, it blows their minds. Like they're you know, they've never done that kind of thing. Whereas on the ovals, it's the other way around. So my focus is just keep understanding the ovals, keep getting better at them. And, you know, I want to one day be, you know, running up front and be competitive most weeks on the ovals. And, you know, the road courses they'll just keep coming naturally to me, I think.
Awesome. You're reveling, mate. I know you're enjoying it. Keep enjoying it. Your dad and your sister, I think, are coming to Chicago. Enjoy having them with you as well. And it's our first chance to see you since your mum very sadly left us, mate. It was a very, very touching tribute that you had there, and I know she'll continue to be proud of what you're doing, mate. Well done.
Cool. Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Some good things to come, you sense, on this NASCAR journey of his. Well done, Shane. And awesome to hear that he's potentially going to do some sprint car races back home over summer. Wouldn't it be great to see him at Chili Bowl too? I hope selfishly that happens, and I don't reckon I'm alone there. I think he said on, maybe it was the Stacking Pennies pod, that he wanted to spend the first half of this year just concentrating on NASCAR. That makes total sense. And then to see what other occasional opportunities arise that fit without taking his eyes off the main objective. Fantastic that he is starting to give a little thought to doing a couple of those things now. That is it for today. Matt Payne from Penrite Racing will join us on the shortcast soon, and we're catching up with Ricky Carmichael too, the GOAT of Supercross and Motocross. Keep an eye out for notifications on feature episodes as well, one with Emma Gilmore in the pipeline. She's back rallying after that massive crash in Extreme E when she was competing for McLaren, and one of the few that could go wheel to wheel with one of the greats of Formula One, Ayrton Senna. We're talking to Calvin Fish, who commentates in America these days, who reflects on his own career behind the wheel and his time against a legend of motorsport. We'll catch you next time. Bye for now.